This is the story of a powerful lady they don't want you to hear. She's rarely seen, seldom heard. Yet her name sends quiet shockwaves through Iran's corridors of power. Jamileh Alamolhoda, daughter of a powerful cleric, wife of Iran's president, and the silent architect behind the country's ultra-conservative transformation. But beneath the political influence lies a haunting truth, one so dark it nearly pushed her to end her own life. Who is she, really? And why are even officials close to Supreme Leader Khamenei starting to see her as a threat? In a regime where visibility equals control, how has a woman who lives in the shadows become one of the most feared and untouchable figures in the Islamic Republic? To find out more, let's dive into Empire Elegance. Born in 1965, Jamileh Alamolhoda entered the world already surrounded by power. She is the eldest daughter of Ahmad Alamolhoda, an ultra-conservative cleric, the Friday prayer imam of Mashhad, and a key figure in Iran's Assembly of Experts, the very council tasked with choosing the supreme leader. From the moment she was born, her path was anything but ordinary. She wasn't just close to power, she was raised in its shadow. At just 18 years old, she married Ibrahim Raisi, a man already rising within the ranks of the Islamic Republic. But this wasn't just a marriage, it was an alliance. The union of Jamileh and Raisi didn't just merge two lives, it fused two dynasties, one religious, the other political. A quiet consolidation of influence within the most conservative corners of Iran's ruling elite. But unlike the traditional image of a first lady, Jamileh didn't step into the spotlight. There were no speeches, no charity galas, no public persona. Instead, she stayed in the shadows, silent, academic, and calculated. And that's exactly where her power began to grow. Far from just a first lady, despite her low profile, Jamileh Alamolhoda is anything but passive. Beneath the silence lies a deliberate intellectual force, one shaping Iran's future at the most fundamental level, its education system. As an associate professor at Tehran's Shahid Beheshti University, Jamileh teaches subjects that go far beyond theory. These aren't casual lectures. These are courses at the intersection of Islamic thought and education. Topics like the philosophy of higher education, Islamic anthropology, and the ideological foundations of educational management. These aren't casual topics. They're fields that shape the minds of Iran's future policymakers, teachers, and religious scholars. But that's just the beginning. She didn't just settle into a professor's chair. She went on to establish the Institute of Fundamental Studies of Science and Technology. As president of this institute, she has helped build Iran's educational future from the inside out, developing science and technology policy models that align with Islamic values and conservative ideology. In 2020, she was appointed as the secretary of the Council for the Transformation and Renovation of the Educational System of the country by Iran's Supreme Council of the Cultural Revolution, a position with immense influence, though rarely discussed. And it didn't stop there. In 2023, she was added to Tehran University's Faculty Recruitment Executive Board, a move that, once again, drew little attention, but holds major implications, because now, she's not just influencing what is taught, she's deciding who gets to teach it. This is no ordinary academic. This is a woman quietly curating the ideological backbone of a nation. Beyond this, their private life has remained mostly hidden from the public eye, but some facts have trickled through the tightly guarded wall of silence. Jamileh and Ibrahim Raisi had two daughters. One of them earned her PhD in sociology from the University of Tehran. The other pursued a degree in physics at Sharif University of Technology, two of the most prestigious academic institutions in the country. Now, with two grandchildren, Jamileh's role as a mother and grandmother quietly blended with her academic life. But what makes her presence so unnerving to many is not her family. It's the philosophy she promotes, one that paints a stark picture of womanhood, education, and morality in Iran. When she speaks publicly, which is rare, her words are not casual. They are calculated. To understand why Iran won't let go of its strict hijab laws, you have to look past the headlines and listen to quiet influencers like Jamileh Alamolhoda. She's not a lawmaker, but her ideas are shaping how rules are made. In her speeches and writing, Jamileh says the hijab isn't just a religious duty, it's a way to protect moral values in society. She believes knowledge without morality can be dangerous. In her book, The Art of Living Femininely, she writes that women have a special role in keeping society ethical. That includes being modest, respecting the home, and raising children with strong Islamic beliefs. Jamileh once said, "Girls are raised to give comfort and respect. Boys are raised to protect." That one line reveals a lot. It's a belief system that now shapes school lessons, moral values, and what it means to be a woman in Iran, where many are hoping for change. Despite her growing influence, Jamileh Alamolhoda stays almost invisible in the public eye. Unlike first ladies in other countries, she rarely gives interviews or appears in the media. She keeps a low profile, but her presence is felt everywhere. And that silence? It raises questions few dare to ask. Why would someone so educated, so connected, and so powerful stay hidden from public view? Some believe her low profile is deliberate, crafted to reflect the Islamic Republic's ideal of modest femininity. Intelligent, powerful, but never too exposed. Others whisper that it's not her choice at all. According to insider reports, even Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei has warned her husband not to let her go too far. As Jamileh takes on more roles and influence, the whispers grow louder. Is this about modesty? Or is it about control? Though she may not dominate television screens, Jamileh Alamolhoda has steadily carved out a formidable position, from organizing international conferences that attract leaders' wives to shaping educational reforms through her institute. She's established a parallel path to influence, one that doesn't rely on traditional political channels. In January, she hosted the Congress of Influential Women in Tehran, a move that, on the surface, looked like a soft power gesture, celebrating female contributions, but beneath it lay a much larger strategy, positioning herself as Iran's unofficial first lady on the world stage. Not only this, she even framed the event with an unusual statement, declaring that the true first lady of Iran is actually the supreme leader's wife. Some saw this as humility, others saw it as a tactical deflection, a way to climb while appearing deferential. Her message was clear: I am not a rival, I am a loyalist. Yet behind this deference was unmistakable ambition. Foreign Minister Hossein Amir Abdullahian himself acknowledged that Jamileh was the driving force behind the Congress. She is not simply an academic or a spouse. She is a political actor who knows how to read a room and how to shape a narrative. Jamileh Alamolhoda's rise didn't start with Raisi's presidency in 2021. Her influence dates back to 2017, when Raisi was running against President Hassan Rouhani. Behind the scenes, Jamileh used her position on the Supreme Council of the Cultural Revolution to write a report criticizing the UN's 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, calling it a threat to Iran's traditional values and family structure. The report made its way to Ayatollah Khamenei, who soon publicly criticized Rouhani's government for supporting Western ideals, exactly what Alamolhoda had hoped to achieve. Though Rouhani won re-election, Raisi's conservative base among religious families grew. When Raisi ran again in 2021, that support helped him secure the presidency. Many now believe Jamileh's influence was already shaping the future behind the scenes. Even after Raisi's win, Jamileh remained a key player. She reportedly conducted private interviews with potential ministers and recommended appointments. One of those nominations, Hossein Bagholi for Education Minister, was rejected by Parliament for lack of qualifications, but it still highlighted her behind-the-scenes influence. This didn't go unnoticed. Sources say Khamenei sent a message to Raisi, urging him to control your wife. And so the story of Jamileh Alamolhoda unfolds in shadows and whispers. She is not an elected leader. She holds no official title that grants her legislative power. However, in a regime where many decisions are made behind closed doors, she may be one of the most influential figures few outside Iran have heard of. To some, she is a scholar and patriot, fighting to preserve Iranian identity. To others, she is an architect of suppression, working to limit the freedoms of those who demand change. Either way, she is not just the wife of a president. She is a symbol of a system that elevates loyalty over transparency, ideology over freedom, and silence over dissent. This is the hard truth about Iran's First Lady, and perhaps the reason people are afraid to discuss it is because she might be listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe to Empire Elegance and hit the notification bell for more powerful stories. about the lives and legacies of the world's most influential figures. Thanks for watching, and we will see you in our next video.